The spiritual person is a consuming fire. Geronda. How can someone live a proper Christian life in today's society without being scandalized by those who live far from God? Why should anyone be scandalized by others who do not live close to God? If you were in a family with 6 or 8 siblings, and 1 or 2 of them were led into error by Satan to live a sinful life, would their sinful life scandalize you? No, I would grieve, for they are my brother and sister. Well then, the evil is within us. We have no love, and for this reason we do not consider all people our brothers and sisters, and are scandalized by their life. We are all one big family, and are brothers and sisters among ourselves, for we are all children of God. If we truly feel that we are brothers with all human beings, we will care for those living in sin, and will not be scandalized by their sinful life, but instead will pray for them with pain. Therefore, if we are scandalized, the evil is within us, not outside. When you feel scandalized, you should ask yourself, how many do I scandalize? In God's name, shouldn't I tolerate my brother or sister? How does God tolerate me with all things I do? Think of God, of Panagia, the angels, who look upon all the people of earth, as if standing on a balcony and looking down on a plaza. They see some stealing, others fighting, still others sinning carnally, and so on. How does God tolerate them all? How is it that He can tolerate all the evil and all the sin on earth, and we cannot tolerate even one brother or sister? It is awful. Geronda. What does Saint Paul mean when he says that God is a consuming fire? If you throw papers or trash into a furnace, what will become of them? Won't they be burned up and consumed? It is the same with a spiritual person. Whatever temptation is thrown at him, he will be burned up and consumed. A consuming fire. When the divine fire lights inside man, everything is burned. No evil thought can stick to him. In other words, the devil will hurl at him all kinds of evil thoughts, but a spiritual man is a fire that burns them up. In which case the devil grows weary of doing this and eventually stops. This is why Saint Paul the Apostle also writes, "To the pure all things are pure. The pure see everything as pure. There is nothing impure. Even when thrown into the mire, the pure will remain pure, like the rays of the sun, which no matter where they fall, remain bright and pure." The spiritual person is transformed for the better by the saint, and is not irritated by the carnal person. He sees a carnal person and feels pain for him, but suffers no harm. Another person who is in a moderate state of spirituality is transformed for the better by a truly spiritual person. However, he is also transformed by a carnal person, but this time toward evil. A carnal person cannot distinguish a saint and is provoked by another carnal person. And while the possessed sees the saint and flees, the carnal person approaches a saint in order to tempt him and to scandalize him. One who is debased to the condition of the Sodomites is scandalized even by the angels. The humble person, even when inexperienced spiritually, can distinguish the angel of God from the devil, because he has spiritual purity and is related to the angel. Whereas the egoist and carnal man, besides being easily beguiled by the cunning devil, transmits cunningness himself, provoking with his carnality and harming the weaker souls with his spiritual germs. Geronda. How does one reach the spiritual state of being able to see everything is pure? The heart must be purified so the grace of God may find a place to rest. Create in me a clean heart, O God. Isn't that what is written in the psalm? When a man or a woman's heart is purified, then Christ comes to dwell in it, and then they no longer scandalize others, nor are they scandalized by others. Rather, they transmit grace and reverence. The person who is careful to maintain his spiritual purity also preserves divine grace. Then he sees everything in the light of purity, and is also able to utilize the impure for good and spiritual purposes. This good work of spiritual transformation is accomplished in his good and spiritual factory. Useless papers are turned into clean and useful paper napkins, writing pads, and so on. Old and broken bronze objects are turned into candlesticks and candle stands. In contrast, the person who accepts deviousness and thinks deviously will turn even good things into bad, like the factories which make ammunitions. They will turn even gold into bullets and shells, because that is what their machines are made for. When someone starts making concessions to sin, he darkens inside. The eyes of the soul are clouded and he can no longer see clearly. Moreover, he is polluted by sin, and sin confuses and entangles him, causing him to see even the pure as sinful. There are people who cannot believe, for example, that some young people live pure and chaste lives. It's impossible for such a thing to happen today, they say. These poor souls are so immersed in sin that they see everything as sinful. People who sleep with the demons cannot imagine that others are sleeping with little angels. But we must not expect the swine to be respectful of the lovely lilies. You see, even Christ said, "Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast your pearls before the swine, lest they trample them under their feet." For this reason, anyone trying to live a truly pure and spiritual life must be very careful never to be too bold before worldly people or allow that they are spiritually in the right, because they can do much harm and also be harmed themselves. Keep in mind that worldly people have another rule and another canonarch, and they cannot tell the difference between the holy myron and ordinary perfume. Geronda. Can someone who wants to live close to Christ be hindered by external temptations? No. Only our lack of a spiritual life can separate us from Christ. This is the work of the demon, to create scandals and to spread evil all around, to attack people sometimes head-on and at other times deviously. Christ loves us and is close to us when we live according to His will. For this reason, when you see scandals being created, do not be afraid and do not panic. If someone does not face up to reality in a spiritual manner, he will not enjoy a single day. For the devil will find his mark, that is his weak point, and will constantly create scandals against him. Today one thing, tomorrow another, the day after that yet another.